The Goshen Economic Mandate, Prophetic and Practical Instructions for Believers Facing Financial Stress. This plan is built on the pattern God revealed in Joseph's journey. Joseph entered his assignment financially empty, socially isolated, stripped of his natural supports, yet spiritually anchored. That anchoring became the basis for supernatural favor and practical wisdom. Genesis chapter 41 shows that what Joseph carried spiritually became administrative power. Genesis chapter 47 shows that what Joseph built practically became protection for God's people. If you are financially stretched right now, you are not disqualified. You are in Joseph's starting position, not his ending position. This journey progresses through 3 prophetic phases, each tied to its Hebraic year, 5,786. Secure, 5,787. Steward, 5,788. Shelter. Each phase contains spiritual instruction and practical action. Phase 1, secure, 5,786. Anchor your trust. Simplify your life. Reset your foundations. 5,786 is the year where God secures what is inside of you before he expands what is around you. It mirrors the early stages of Joseph's journey when everything looked like loss, but heaven called it preparation. Joseph had to become anchored before he could become trusted. He had to be settled in who he was long before Pharaoh ever placed a ring on his hand. The inner life had to be secured before the outer assignment could be revealed. This is what God is doing in 5,786. He is stabilizing your identity, strengthening your discernment, and cutting away anything that cannot travel with you into the next prophetic years. The word build in Scripture is often tied to Strong's H1129, which carries the sense of establishing, fortifying, and setting in place something meant to endure. Before God allows you to build, he builds you. Before he places responsibility in your hands, he first secures the hands that will carry it. This year, God begins with who you are becoming. He pulls you out of emotional clutter, scattered focus, and spiritual weakness, and he begins to anchor your mind. This is the year where the double-mindedness breaks. This is the year where spiritual noise quiets. This is the year where old cycles, emotional patterns, and survival mode thinking no longer hold the same authority. God is securing your internal footing because the seasons ahead will require a level of stability the casual believer will not have. 5,786 is also a pruning year. Not the kind of pruning that punishes, but the kind that prepares. Joseph lost his coat, his family covering, and his privileges, yet he never lost the mantle God placed on him. In the same way, God is removing distractions, unnecessary commitments, expired relationships, and anything in your financial or emotional life that drains strength. He is not reducing you. He is refining you. You are being streamlined for speed, accuracy, and obedience. Just like Joseph secured Egypt's future by acting early, this year is where you secure your own essentials. God is calling you to simplify your routines, stabilize your spending, and remove financial leaks that break your focus. You may not see abundance yet, but you will see consistency. Joseph did not begin with wealth. He began with discipline. This is the year where you learn the foundation of good stewardship before God begins multiplying anything in your hands. 5,786 is also the year where you regain emotional strength. Many believers have been weighed down by cycles of comparison, fear, instability, and overcommitment. God is breaking that. He is teaching you to guard your peace, say no without guilt, protect your focus, and stop rescuing people who do not want transformation. A Joseph who is emotionally exhausted cannot govern. A Joseph who is scattered cannot interpret dreams. A Joseph who is drained cannot build systems that save a generation. In this year, God is also repositioning you quietly. Expect shifts in your circle. Expect unfamiliar alignment. Expect divine connections that feel small at first, but carry major destiny later. Joseph's connection to the cupbearer seemed insignificant, but it was the link that opened the palace. God is aligning you with people who match your next season, not your past one. 5,786 is also a year of obedience in small things. Joseph's entire breakthrough came because he interpreted one dream correctly in a hidden place. Your obedience in what looks small will open the door to what is monumental. God is training your ear, sharpening your discernment, and teaching you to trust His leading without second guessing. As this year unfolds, God will also reveal the territory of your Goshen. It may be a physical region, a community, a calling, a digital assignment, or a persecuted church partnership. You will not build it fully this year, but you will begin to see it with clarity. In Strong's H7200, the word see carries the idea of perceiving what God is revealing and understanding what He is preparing you for. That is what will happen in this phase. You will begin to perceive the shape of your future assignment. By the time you finish 5,786, you will not be the same. You will be steadier, more focused, more spiritually sharp, more financially aware, and more emotionally grounded. This is the year God secures the vessel so He can trust it with provision in 5,787. And people in 5,788, phase 1 is about becoming the person who can carry the next phases without breaking. Before God trusts you with resources, He secures you. Before He trusts you with the remnant, He stabilizes you. Before He activates your Goshen assignment, He strengthens the foundation it will rest upon. 5,786 is the year of becoming unshakable. Anchor your trust, simplify your structure, cut the drain, and strengthen the foundation. This is the year Strong's H1129 Bana becomes the theme. Bana means to build, establish, secure, and make firm. When money is tight, God is not punishing you. He is rebuilding the internal structure that allows Him to bless you later without you being enslaved by the blessing. Secure your spiritual source. When you are stretched, everything in you tries to fix and hustle, but God is trying to bind you to Himself. Proverbs chapter 18 verse 10, 1 Timothy chapter 6 verse 17, Proverbs chapter 3 verses 25 to 26. These passages anchor you in divine security, not economic security. Declare daily, "The Lord is my source and my supply. I am being secured, not shaken." Simplify your financial footprint. Financial stretching is often tied to overextension. Use this season to cut subscriptions, cancel unnecessary services, reduce recurring payments, renegotiate bills, end emotional spending, pause big purchases. This is not shrinking in fear. This is strengthening the foundation so it can carry future increase. Identify your Egypt dependencies. Joseph could not rise while dependent on the structures that enslaved him. Ask, where am I still tied to Babylon's system? What habits, mindsets, or financial behaviors keep me in Egypt? Write them down. Begin cutting one at a time. Create a micro budget that reflects the truth of your season. A micro budget is a simplified, honest budget that reflects what your life actually is right now, not what it used to be. You budget based on reality, not memory. Establish a Goshen reserve. Even if it is small, even if you can save $5 per week, save it. The discipline matters more than the amount. This becomes your seed for phase 2. Phase 2. Steward, 5,787. Build what you secured. Multiply what you stabilized. Prepare for what is coming. If 5,786 was the year God secured your foundation, then 5,787 is the year He trains your hands to steward what He is placing in your life. This is the year where discipline becomes growth, clarity becomes movement, and your internal stability finally becomes outward progress. Joseph shifted from surviving systems to governing them, and that same transition marks 5,787. You move from being stabilized to becoming strategic. In Scripture, the idea of stewardship carries the sense of managing, cultivating, and multiplying something entrusted by God. The word steward connects to Strong's G 3623, which speaks of one who manages a household or estate on behalf of the owner. In 5,787, God treats you like His steward. You are no longer operating from survival or emotional recovery. You are entrusted with something that belongs to heaven. You are managing destiny, resources, opportunities, and people, not as an owner, but as one who carries divine responsibility. Joseph's 7 years of abundance did not begin with abundance. They began with order. They began with structure. They began with the quiet, methodical, almost unnoticed discipline of gathering grain one handful at a time. Strong's H 5956 describes the act of laying away, storing up, preserving, which is exactly what Joseph did before famine struck. He didn't rush. He didn't hoard out of fear. He governed with intentionality. That is the nature of 5,787. You will be tempted to move quickly, but the grace in this year is not speed, it is precision. God is teaching you how to manage time, opportunities, assignments, finances, and relationships with wisdom rather than emotion. This is where you begin to master your flows. Your time flow, your financial flow, your communication flow, your spiritual rhythm, and your capacity to focus without being pulled into confusion or urgency. 5,787 is also a year of opening. Doors that were not ready to open in 5,786 will begin to unlock now. What felt dormant last year secretly matured beneath the surface. God begins to allow the fruits of your faithfulness to show, the skills you cultivated quietly, the discipline you rebuilt, the boundaries you restored, and the inner healing you embraced. All of it becomes visible in how you carry yourself and how you handle responsibility. People will notice the change even if you do not. This is the year God enlarges your territory, but not recklessly. Joseph did not expand Egypt's granaries randomly. He built them strategically with foresight and understanding. Strong's H 995 describes discernment, insight, the ability to distinguish, and 5787 is the year your discernment matures into strategy. You will notice that you are no longer asking, "What should I do?" Instead, you begin to ask, "How should I build this?" That shift is a sign that your mind has moved from survival to stewardship. 5787 is also the year where relationships shift again, but this time toward alignment rather than separation. In 5786, God removed the wrong people. In 5787, He begins sending the right ones. You will recognize them by their fruit: consistent, stable, assignment-minded, and aligned with the future God is shaping in you. Joseph's partnership with Pharaoh was not accidental. It was divine placement for divine stewardship. You will see that same pattern: unlikely alliances, unexpected supporters, unseen favor, financially and professionally. This year is about establishing your streams. Joseph did not wait for famine to determine Egypt's supply chain. He built them early. You will sense the grace to develop new streams of income, refine your business ideas, strengthen your career positioning, and build sustainable systems rather than chasing quick opportunities. Everything you touch is meant to endure, not collapse under pressure. Spiritually, 5787 is the year your ear becomes sharper. Joseph did not succeed because of administration alone. He succeeded because he heard God clearly. Strong's H 8085 speaks of hearing with understanding, obeying, and responding accurately. That is the posture of a steward. You will notice a new calmness in your decision making, a new clarity when you pray, and a new maturity in how you navigate spiritual pressure. God is not only training your ears, He is training your responses. Emotionally, this is the year where your confidence returns, not pride, but grounded assurance. You have walked through too much to doubt who you are now. Your mind is settled, your spirit is steady. The anxiety that once made you second guess everything loses its grip. You become less reactive and more intentional. You speak with grace but move with authority. Joseph did not apologize for the wisdom God gave him. Neither will you. By the time you reach the end of 5787, you will see clear evidence of impact. You will have more order, more clarity, more financial stability, more purposeful relationships, and more spiritual stamina. You will feel yourself stepping into your role, not just as a believer, but as a builder. You will also begin to notice that God is slowly shifting your attention toward people. That is intentional, because 5788 will require you to shelter others, build systems that preserve them, and establish the kind of refuge Joseph created in Goshen. 5787 is the year where you become the steward God can trust. You will not fear the future because you have prepared for it. You will not be intimidated by responsibility because 5786 secured your foundation. And you will not shrink back from your assignment because this year teaches you how to govern with grace. Your hands are being trained for the work of 5788. Your structures are being built for the people who will rely on you. And your identity is becoming inseparable from your calling. This is the year where you move from being prepared to becoming a steward who knows exactly why God chose you. 5787 is the weapon year, the nourishment year, the cutoff year, and it is a leap year. A leap year prophetically means enlargement, extension, and added time to align. You are financially stretched because God is forcing you to learn stewardship while everything is unstable. This is the year Joseph's wisdom matures. Strengthen your storehouse. Thinking Joseph's greatness was not his dream gift, but his storehouse strategy. Storehouse thinking means buy only what multiplies. Keep a 2 to 4 week emergency supply. Stock items you use daily. Look for patterns in spending. Prepare modestly but consistently. Even financially stretched people can prepare storehouses one small step at a time. Begin building a multiple stream mindset. Joseph had one calling but multiple functions. Today, that looks like one main income, one supplemental income, one occasional income. You do not need to chase 10 things. You need 2 or 3 steady streams that build slowly. Strengthen your resilience skills. Joseph taught Egypt to survive famine, not avoid famine. Learn one resilience skill this year that saves money. Cooking at home, gardening, basic repair skills, sewing, selling items, digital skills, content creation, tutoring, caregiving, freelancing. When you are stretched, skills are currency. Join or form a Remnant resource circle. 5,787 is the nourishment year. That means God will feed you in community. A Remnant resource circle is a small group, even 2 or 3 people, who share surplus trade skills, pray for each other, help each other bridge gaps, buy certain items together. This is modern Goshen behavior. Practice prophetic stewardship. Prophetic stewardship means asking the Lord, what must I stop? What must I start? What must I protect? What must I release? In a leap year, the Lord adds time so you can realign your choices. Phase 3 shelter, 5,788. Build a covering. Become the refuge. Protect what God has entrusted. 5,788 is the year everything comes together. It is the year Joseph's purpose became visible not in the palace, but in Goshen. Not when he interpreted Pharaoh's dream, but when he became the shelter for his family, the surrounding nations, and the faithful remnant who could not have survived without what God entrusted to him. This is the year where your assignment shifts from personal development and strategic stewardship into divine sheltering. What God built in you during 5,786 and what he taught you to manage in 5,787 now becomes the very thing that protects, nourishes, and stabilizes others. Joseph did not just survive famine, he absorbed it. The chaos that decimated nations did not consume him because he had already been trained to steward what heaven deposited. Strong's H 2645 speaks of covering, overshadowing, protecting. This is the essence of 5,788. God is forming you into a spiritual and practical covering, a place where people can find direction, stability, wisdom, and safety. In this phase, God begins to multiply your influence, not for recognition but for preservation. Some assignments are given for impact. This one is given for protection. You become a stabilizing force in unstable times. You become the one others will look to when the world becomes confusing, when systems collapse, when fear increases, when persecution rises, and when clarity becomes scarce. Joseph was not raised up for applause. He was raised up for crisis. Goshen was not built overnight. It was built on the foundation of unwavering obedience, faithful stewardship, and divine positioning. In Strong's H 5000, 116. The word for dwelling place carries the sense of a place where God assigns rest, security, and divine order. That is what your Goshen will represent in 5788, an environment God designates as a refuge for those connected to your assignment. For some, this may be a literal place. For others, it may be spiritual community, digital infrastructure, relational covering, training systems, intercessory networks, microeconomies, or persecuted church alliances. However God shapes it, the purpose remains the same: preservation. In 5788, you will notice that people start gathering around what you carry. Some will be drawn by the stability they sense in you. Others will come because the Holy Spirit directs them. You will begin attracting the hungry, the wounded, the gifted, the displaced, the misaligned, the persecuted, the overlooked, and those who sense they cannot survive alone in this next spiritual era. Joseph did not go searching for people. The right people came searching for Joseph because God placed his solution in Joseph. This is also the year where your authority becomes clearer. Up until now, you have carried your mantle privately. In 5788, the mantle becomes visible. Joseph's authority became undeniable when famine forced people to recognize the value of what he stewarded. The mantle on your life, apostolic, prophetic, pastoral, evangelistic, teaching, or governance, will begin to carry a weight and clarity it did not have before. Strong's H 4910 describes ruling not as domination, but as responsible oversight, governance with righteousness, and leadership that preserves life. That is the kind of authority God is activating in you. Emotionally, 5788 is the year where you step into maturity. You will no longer question if you are ready. You will no longer doubt your preparation. You will no longer see your past as a disqualification. Everything you endured, survived, and overcame becomes a tool, a testimony, and a resource for guiding others. Joseph did not resent his process when he saw the faces of his brothers. He understood the divine strategy. God sent me ahead of you to preserve life. Strong's H 2421, which speaks of sustenance, survival, and life preservation, captures the exact assignment of 5788. In this year, God also strengthens your discernment for people. You will know who is assigned to your Goshen and who is not. You will recognize the difference between those who come for safety and those who come for advantage. You will sense when to open the gate and when to close it. Joseph did not expose Egypt to exploitation. He governed with wisdom. The same discernment will guide your decisions, relationships, partnerships, and boundaries. Covering does not mean careless openness. It means guided responsibility. Practically, 5788 becomes the year where systems you built finally operate. Structures begin to take shape. Communities begin to grow. Resources begin to multiply. Networks begin to strengthen. New leaders begin to emerge from around you. What you stewarded privately in 5787 becomes the infrastructure through which people are protected in 5788. And spiritually, this is the year where God increases your capacity. You will feel a new strength, a new authority, and a new boldness. Your prophetic sensitivity increases. Your intercession deepens. Your strategic clarity sharpens. You begin to recognize how everything in your journey was preparation for this moment of covering and preservation. By the end of 5788, you will not only recognize the mantle you carry, you will understand its weight, its calling, and its purpose. You will see the fruit of the years you secured and stewarded. You will see that your journey was never about personal survival, but about becoming a lifeline for others. You will see Goshen not as a concept, but as a reality forming around your obedience. Phase 1 taught you stability. Phase 2 taught you stewardship. Phase 3 teaches you shelter, not just for yourself, but for the remnant who must survive what is coming. 5788 is the year where you move fully into your Joseph assignment. You are no longer just being prepared. You are no longer just building. You have become the shelter. Build a tent, honor the wall, and embrace separation for your protection. 5788 is the tent and wall year. Strong's H 5520, Sukkah means shelter, booth, covering. This is when God encloses you so the enemy has no legal access. If you are financially stretched, this is where God turns your weakness into stability. Embrace the wall season. A wall is a boundary. Boundaries regulate time, money, people, energy, assignments, commitments. In 5788, God will close doors you kept forcing open. Do not mourn the closing. Thank Him for the protection. Build your personal Goshen system. A personal Goshen system has 3 elements: provision, protection, purpose provision, enough to live without fear. Protection, community, prayer covering, and strategic wisdom. Purpose, alignment with God's assignment for your life. Form an accountability partnership. A Goshen builder does not operate alone. You need someone who checks in on your spending, prays with you, sharpens your decisions, reminds you of your calling. This is part of the wall God builds around you. Strengthen your income walls. Income walls are the structures that protect your household. Automatic savings, emergency funds, side income, a small investment plan, debt reduction plan, entrepreneurial step, even tiny steps count. Identify your prophetic territory. In 5788, God clarifies where you belong. City, state, church, mandate, assignment, community. When you know where you belong, provision knows where to find you. The full emergent pattern for the financially stretched. If you are financially stretched right now, you are exactly where Joseph was before the breakthrough. In 5786, you are secured. Even if it feels like stripping. In 5787, you are stewarded through pressure, even if it feels hard. In 5788, you are sheltered and enclosed, even if you feel exposed right now. Financial stretching is not punishment. It is prophetic positioning. It is God preparing you to carry Joseph's wisdom with weight and authority. Your current weakness is the soil where your future strength will grow. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this message. Subscribe to Goshen Apostolic Institute for teachings that equip end-time leaders, watchmen, prophetic voices, and kingdom builders.